everyone, and thank you for joining us for the second installment of our parking talks focused on Smart City. Last week we heard from Clever City and Parkam, and this week Mark from Urbiotica, Andrea from Parquery and Akif from Ekin will be joining the discussion. Andrea, let's start with you. Can you tell us more about what is driving the current trend towards smart cities, and how do you think it will evolve?
Yes, so I noticed a very clear trend in cities to have more and more data. And of course, one such source of data for smart cities is certainly parking. It's very clear, it has been demonstrated over the years, that having real-time information on parking occupancy can have a big impact on the traffic reduction, pollution reduction, and of course at the same time improve the quality of life for drivers, which would spend less time in the car and more time at their destination. Of course, improving this parking in cities requires investments from the city side. And we have seen, even if technologies have been available for quite some time now, that the costs of such technologies have been a barrier, especially for large-scale deployments, whereas many small-scale pilots have been deployed over the years. We think that, yes, cost has been one of the barriers. But at the same time, it's very clear, and there is a trend in the industry that data is becoming available at a much more affordable cost these days. So we think that given this trend, it is very likely that more and more cities will start working on connecting their parking spaces in the parking lots to have a centralized data source where real-time data can be made available to the drivers.
And Mark, aside from the need for data, are there other trends driving Smart City forward?
Well, we are seeing many different technological trends that are appearing, and also different ways on facing the management of the parking. So I think the parking is definitely going digital. So we will see more and more digital services, and we believe also that IoT will play a key role in that digital transformation by helping city managers having a real-time information on how the parking is behaving, and based on that be able to interact in or manage it in a more efficient way.
Akif, we heard from Mark that parking is going digital. With this in mind, what features do you think are essential for smart city solutions?
So actually, if it's smart parking, it should be easy for you to know where you can park your car before you start the journey. I think that's one of the essential parts, so you avoid cruising in the city to search for a parking spot. That's one of the things, and if it's paid, which happens in most of the things, there should be one account where I can make all my parking payments. Two major things which I personally, as a user, or let's say as a parking spot searcher in a city, would appreciate if I would have these two features to make my life easier in the city. It should be one account. Actually, most of the times is when I go to when I travel to different countries. If I take a rental car, it's sometimes not easy to pay the parking ticket, even if it's only a few bucks. So for me, for example, the Uber app is very convenient because in any country I go, I pay with the same app. It's one of the let's say convenience factors which makes life very easy. That's very important, I think. So it shouldn't matter which country I go. It's one app, one payment system, and I can make use of it.
So Akif, do you feel that the right infrastructure and technology is in place to support smart city parking?
Yeah, the industry is actually, there's a need for technical. So if you're asking from the industry point of view, is actually you need some devices which help you to identify the parking spots, and maybe that's another thing, if you accept it, which I would do, is make actually paid parking easier. So there should be no need for a ticket, not even an app. So I should be able to allow my license plate to be certified or allowed to use it as a parking ticket. That's from my point of view the easiest way.
Andrea, do you agree with Akif that we need more technical services before smart city parking can be successful?
In our opinion, cameras and video streams are very valuable source of data for smart cities, not necessarily only for parking, but also for many other use cases. And one of the most interesting and important points here is that many cities have already a very dense network of cameras. And so these existing hardware can actually be already used to gather really a lot of data, of course, on parking, but also, for example, on traffic, both of vehicles and pedestrians, on many different other scenarios. And all these using the very same hardware.
Let's turn now to the benefits of smart city solutions. Mark, perhaps you can begin?
Well, I prefer to start with the consumer. So I think that smart city parking it's bringing a bunch of new services for the citizen. Okay, going from being able to pay in a digital way, having information about where to park and where not to park. And I think that in the future we will see more and more sophisticated service, especially for, let's say, specific users like disabled people, where we will see new ways of making much more easy for them to park, which is case in because for them it's difficult to move. So being able to park nearby where they want to go, it's a key point, and we will be delivering soon some new solutions for them.
And Mark, what about the benefits to cities and municipalities?
Yeah, I think that cities will be able to manage proactively some of the parking issues they have until now, for which they have no real solution. Okay, so this new IoT solution will help them on that way, and these new technologies also open a new field of business for the industry. So some use case that until now were not able to be reached by the industry now can be, let's say, addressed by the industry and provide new source of revenue for the parking solution providers.
Mark spoke a little about parking solution providers. So Andrea, how do you think that the rise in demand for smart city solutions will impact the parking industry?
Well, it is a very big opportunity because the market is huge. Cities are, of course, countless in the whole world, and many of such cities have the need of having data, and this is, again, clearer and clearer. So this will have a huge benefit on the parking industry, specifically because it will generate very big opportunities all across the globe. So beyond off-street, we believe that also city parking, on-street parking will be a big opportunity for the parking industry in the future, in the near future even.
Thanks for sharing your thoughts on Smart City. Let's hear more about your upcoming projects. Andrea, given the current trends towards data-driven decision-making, what can we expect from Parkwiri in 2019?
Well, I've seen lately we have had many more projects, specifically with city administration. So they're on one side, the awareness of Parkwiri is getting bigger and bigger, and at the same time, the fact that our solution is very cost-effective to deploy and also very easy makes it very appealing for cities. So this is certainly one of the trends we have seen. But at the same time, we have more and more of very large outdoor parking lots for which up to now it has been not even affordable to think about having real-time data, that are starting to feel that they can actually have data on the occupancy of the parking spaces with our technology.
And Mark, what is Urbiotica working on at the moment?
Well, what we are working now and what we'll be deploying soon in Spain, in one of the big cities of Spain, it's a service where disabled people will be able to know where are the available spaces reserved for them. They will be able to declare themselves when they park, and when someone not declared by themselves when parking, we will be able to enforce automatically, thanks to the fact that we will have information from sensors. So we will be able to, let's say, know if someone that has not a permit has parked on the parking spots, and on that way making enforcement much more efficient. Today there is a lot of fraud on the use of these parking spots reserved for the disabled people, providing or causing a lot of problems to them. And this is one of the big issues cities has been explaining us from many years now, and with some new disruptive technology like narrowband IoT, we'll be able to deploy sensors without need of deploying gateways. So will be also a cost-efficient solution for the city.
Akif, can you share some solutions that Ekin is working on at the moment?
So we will have some, let's say, new solutions on parking management based on these products. I call them, they're scanners, they're city scanners. So somehow you need to scan the road. And there's another thing, when we talk about the seamless parking in a city. So if I can reserve my parking area in the city, I need to be sure that nobody else is parking in this area. So there should be some, I think everything can be controlled through payment. So if I reserve my parking spot earlier, I would pay, just as a figure, €1 per whatever time unit. But if somebody else is actually occupying this area, it should be much more expensive. So then the price will be 10 times higher, because actually this car XY is using a reserved parking space for somebody else. So otherwise, I don't think you can make parking management happen if you don't, let's say, if you don't monitor who's parking where. I think that's another thing. So you will need to read the plates of this area somehow. I think that's another thing. So there should be ways to link the license plate with the place and the payment system.
Well, Andrea, Mark and Akif, it has been really interesting to hear more about your upcoming projects, and thank you for taking the time to share your thoughts on smart cities. Do you want to get involved in Parking Talks? Or do you have any topics you'd like covered? Contact us at editor@parking-net.com to send us your ideas.